I think my voice was also suffering. I think everything started to suffer for me. The feeling just got very clear to me that I need to just stop.
Steve Perry, the iconic voice of Journey, left the band at the peak of their success, leaving fans wondering why. Now at 75, Perry finally opens up about his departure, revealing the personal struggles and revelations that led to his life-changing decision. Early life and career. Steve Perry's story begins in Hanford, California, where he was born to Portuguese parents. Growing up, Perry was surrounded by music. His father, Raymond, was a singer and co-owned a radio station, which sparked Perry's early interest in music. But life took a turn when Perry was 8, and his parents separated. He moved to his grandparents' dairy farm with his mother, a change that would shape his character. On his 12th birthday, Perry's mother gave him a gold pendant shaped like an eighth note. This gift became a symbol of luck and inspiration throughout his career. It was also around this time that Perry heard Sam Cooke's Cupid on the radio, a moment that ignited his passion for singing. In his early 20s, Perry moved to Sacramento to pursue his musical dreams. He formed a band called Ice with Scott Matthews, a talented 16-year-old musician. They recorded at the famous Record Plant Studios in Los Angeles. But despite their efforts, Ice didn't take off. Perry didn't give up. He moved to Thousand Oaks and formed a progressive rock band called Pieces. But again, success eluded him. After a stint with a band called Alien Project ended tragically with the death of their bassist, Perry almost quit music altogether. Then came the turning point. Journey's manager, Walter Herbert, heard a demo of Perry's work and was impressed. Perry was introduced to Journey, initially as a roadie's Portuguese cousin to avoid alarming their current lead singer. During a sound check, Perry got a chance to sing with the band. His powerful voice and stage presence were undeniable, and soon after, he became Journey's new lead singer. The height of success. With Steve Perry at the helm, Journey's sound evolved, blending rock with more melodic elements. This new direction paid off big time. Their first album with Perry, Infinity, hit the shelves in 1978. It featured Lights, a song Perry co-wrote that became one of Journey's signature tracks. The hits kept coming. Evolution in 1979 gave us Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', Journey's first top 20 hit. Then came Departure in 1980 with Any Way You Want It, another crowd pleaser. But it was 1981's Escape that catapulted Journey to superstardom. The album topped the charts and gave us timeless classics like Don't Stop Believin' and Open Arms. Perry's voice became Journey's trademark. His powerful range and emotional delivery set him apart from other rock singers of the time. Fans and critics alike praised his ability to convey deep emotion in every performance. This talent earned him the nickname The Voice, first given by John Bon Jovi. Journey's success continued with Frontiers in 1983, featuring hits like Separate Ways, Worlds Apart, and Faithfully. The band was riding high, selling out arenas and dominating the airwaves. Perry's distinctive vocals were at the heart of it all, making Journey one of the most successful rock bands of the 80s. During this time, Perry also branched out on his own. His solo album Street Talk came out in 1984 and was a hit in its own right. The lead single, Oh Sherry, showed that Perry could shine just as bright on his own as he did with Journey. The decision to leave. Despite all the success, something was changing for Steve Perry. By 1987, he was feeling burned out. The constant touring, recording, and pressure to maintain Journey's top-tier status were taking their toll. In a candid interview years later, Perry opened up about his decision to walk away from it all. It was a combination of things, Perry explained. The passion for music had left me. I could not find the honest passion for singing anymore. This loss of passion was at the core of his decision. Music had been his lifelong dream, but now it felt more like a burden than a joy. The demands of being a rock star were relentless. Night after night on stage, month after month on the road, it was exhausting. Perry found himself going through the motions, struggling to connect with the music and the audience the way he once had. As his passion waned, Perry started looking for ways to cope with his frustration. He admitted to turning to party behaviors, including substance use and drinking. These were common in the rock scene of the time, but for Perry, they were a sign that something was wrong. Instead of reigniting his love for music, these behaviors only deepened his sense of disconnection. The toll wasn't just emotional, it was physical too. Perry's voice, his greatest asset, was suffering. Years of intense performances and less than healthy habits were catching up with him. He could feel that his instrument wasn't as strong or reliable as it had been. Everything started to suffer for me, Perry reflected. The party lifestyle didn't help restore his passion for music. Instead, it led to a downward spiral that affected every aspect of his life and career. As time went on, Perry realized that continuing on this path would lead nowhere good. He didn't have a clear plan for what would come next, but he knew he needed to make a change. "I need to just stop," he told himself. "I can't keep doing what I'm doing." The decision to leave Journey wasn't easy. The band was at the height of its success, and walking away meant letting go of everything he had worked for. But for Perry, staying would have meant compromising his well-being and the quality of his performances. "I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do or where I was going to go," Perry admitted. All he knew was that he couldn't continue on the path he was on. It was a leap into the unknown, driven by a need to rediscover himself and his love for music. Perry's departure shocked fans and the music world. Journey was one of the biggest bands of the 80s, and Perry's voice was a huge part of their success. But for Perry, the decision was about more than just music. It was about saving himself, contributing factors. Steve Perry's decision to leave Journey wasn't just about losing his passion for music. There were other factors at play, some of which he's only recently opened up about. The rock and roll lifestyle of the 80s was intense, and Perry wasn't immune to its excesses. Certainly drugs and drinking were part of it, of course, he admitted. That came with the times. It's a common story in the music industry. The pressure to keep the party going, to live up to the rock star image. Perry explained how the initial thrill of success can wear off over time. When you finally get that dream you wanted when you were 7, 8, 9, 12 years old and you're loving it, at some point, a little bit of the luster starts to wear off. The constant touring, the repetitive nature of performing the same songs night after night, it all started to feel less exciting. As the excitement faded, Perry, like many others, turned to substances to try and recapture that initial high. But instead of helping, these habits only contributed to his growing sense of dissatisfaction and burnout. The physical toll of the rock star life was significant too. Constant travel, late nights, and the strain of powerful vocal performances night after night were exhausting. Perry's voice, his primary instrument, began to suffer. The wear and tear on his vocal cords was a real concern, adding to his stress and contributing to his decision to step away. There was also the emotional strain of being in the spotlight. The pressure to always be on, to meet fan expectations, and to keep producing hit after hit was immense. Perry found it increasingly difficult to balance his public persona with his personal needs and well-being. Additionally, the dynamics within the band were changing. As Journey's sound evolved and their success grew, tensions and creative differences emerged. While Perry doesn't often speak about band conflicts, it's clear that the stress of maintaining relationships within the group added to his overall burden. All these factors, the substance use, the physical toll, the emotional pressure, and the changing band dynamics, combined with Perry's fading passion for music to create a perfect storm. It became clear to him that something had to give. His decision to leave wasn't just about walking away from music. It was about walking away from a lifestyle that was no longer sustainable for him. Life after Journey. After leaving Journey, Steve Perry's life took a dramatic turn. Gone were the stadiums filled with screaming fans, the constant travel, and the pressure to create hit after hit. Instead, Perry found himself navigating a quieter, more introspective path. One of the first things Perry did was buy a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. This wasn't just a random purchase, it was a symbol of his newfound freedom and a way to reconnect with his roots. "I would drive that Harley in the summertime," Perry recalled. "There was no helmet law back then, and my long hair was flying 20 feet behind me." These motorcycle rides became a form of therapy for Perry. He would cruise through California's Central Valley near his hometown of Hanford. The experience allowed him to rediscover parts of his life he had forgotten during his years of fame. "I was reconnecting with my childhood," he said. Perry found simple joys in these rides. He described how passing by alfalfa fields in the scorching summer heat would create a natural air conditioning effect, dropping the temperature by several degrees. These moments reminded him of his youth and helped ground him in his new reality. But life away from music wasn't all easy rides and rediscovery. Perry struggled with what he described as a form of PTSD related to music. He couldn't bring himself to engage with music at all. "It was very uncomfortable for me," he admitted. "I was afraid that the passion for music would never come back." This fear led Perry to avoid music entirely. He believed he had already lived his dream and saw no reason to return to that world. Instead, he focused on other aspects of his life, trying to find meaning and purpose outside of being a rock star. During this time, Perry also dealt with personal losses. He visited the graves of his mother and other departed relatives regularly. These visits were a way for him to process his grief and reflect on the course his life had taken. Perry's life after Journey was a period of stark contrasts. On one hand, he was free from the pressures and demands of fame. On the other, he was grappling with a loss of identity and purpose. The passion that had driven him for so long was gone, and he was left to figure out who he was without music. This period of Perry's life, while challenging, was also crucial. It allowed him time to heal, reflect, and eventually find his way back to music on his own terms. The turning point. Steve Perry's life took an unexpected turn when he met Patty Jenkins, the acclaimed director known for films like Monster. Their paths crossed when Jenkins reached out about using Journey's "Don't Stop Believin'" in one of her projects. This professional interaction led to a friendship that would change Perry's life. One day, while watching Jenkins edit a Lifetime special called 5 about cancer survivors, Perry noticed a woman on screen. Something about her caught his attention. "I said, 'Go back, who is that?'" Perry recalled. Jenkins told him it was Kelly Nash, a PhD psychologist and cancer survivor. Intrigued, Perry did something out of character. He asked for Kelly's email. "There's something about her," he told Jenkins. "I'd love to send her an email, take her to lunch or something." After an anxious 2-week wait, Perry received a response from Kelly. Their first dinner together marked the beginning of a profound connection. "We were inseparable after that," Perry said. Despite Kelly's ongoing battle with cancer, their bond grew strong quickly. Perry described feeling an instant, deep familiarity with her. "I used to tell her, 'I loved you before I met you, I love you now, and I always will,'" he shared. This relationship with Kelly became a turning point for Perry. After years of isolation and disconnection from music, he found himself opening up again. Kelly's presence in his life brought joy and a renewed sense of purpose. Their time together was precious but brief. Kelly's cancer returned, and she passed away after about a year and a half. However, the impact she had on Perry's life was immense and lasting. She had pulled him out of his self-imposed isolation and helped him rediscover parts of himself he thought were lost. Kelly's influence and Perry's promise. Kelly Nash's influence on Steve Perry went beyond their romantic relationship. She became a catalyst for change in his life, especially in how he approached his isolation and his relationship with music. One night, during one of their intimate conversations, Kelly made a profound request. "If something was ever to happen to me, would you make me one promise?" she asked Perry. When he agreed, she continued, "Promise me you won't go back into isolation. I think it would make this all for nothing." This request struck Perry deeply. He realized that Kelly was looking at her whole life, her cancer diagnosis, her struggles, and their time together, and wanted it all to have meaning. That statement was so huge, Perry reflected. He made the promise, understanding its significance. Kelly's request became a guiding force for Perry after her passing. It pushed him to stay engaged with the world and, ultimately, with music. "That's how the last record came about," Perry explained, referring to his 2018 album Traces, his first new music in nearly 25 years. The album was dedicated to Kelly and represented Perry's effort to keep his promise to her. It marked his return to the music world after a long absence and showed that he was actively working to avoid falling back into isolation. Perry's journey back to music wasn't just about fulfilling a promise. It was about healing and rediscovery. Kelly had shown him that there was still joy and meaning to be found in connecting with others and expressing himself through music. By honoring his promise to Kelly, Perry not only created new music, but also found a way to reconnect with his passion. Her influence helped him bridge the gap between his past as a rock star and his future as an artist who still had something to say. The voice that defined an era. Steve Perry's voice is often described as one of the most distinctive in rock history. His powerful tenor, with its incredible range and emotional depth, set him apart from his contemporaries and helped define the sound of an entire era. Perry's vocal style blends elements of rock, soul, and R&B. His ability to shift seamlessly from powerful belting to tender, emotive passages made Journey's ballads as impactful as their up-tempo rock songs. This versatility allowed the band to cross genre boundaries and appeal to a wide audience. Many in the music industry have praised Perry's vocal prowess. Queen guitarist Brian May once called Perry a truly luminous singer with a voice in a million. Randy Jackson, who played bass for Journey, described Perry's voice as the golden voice, noting his unmatched power, range, and tone. Perry's influence extends far beyond his time with Journey. Many singers who came after him cite Perry as a major influence. His vocal techniques, particularly his ability to convey raw emotion through his singing, have been studied and emulated by countless aspiring vocalists. One of Perry's most notable vocal characteristics is his use of melisma, the technique of singing multiple notes in a single syllable. This, combined with his precise pitch control and dynamic range, gave his performances a unique, soulful quality that became his trademark. Despite the passage of time and his long hiatus from music, Perry's voice has maintained its power and appeal. When he returned to recording with his 2018 album Traces, critics and fans alike were amazed at how well his voice had held up over the years. Perry's vocal legacy is not just about technical skill, but about the ability to connect with listeners on an emotional level. His voice could make you feel the joy, pain, or longing in a song, creating a lasting connection between the music and the audience. This emotional resonance is perhaps the most enduring aspect of Perry's contribution to rock music. Reflection and legacy. Looking back on his career with Journey and his decision to leave, Steve Perry's perspective is one of gratitude and understanding. He acknowledges the incredible success and the impact the band had on rock music. Journey's songs, particularly those featuring Perry's distinctive vocals, have become timeless classics that continue to resonate with fans old and new. Perry's voice remains celebrated in the music world. He was ranked number 76 on Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Singers of All Time list, and in 2017 he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Journey. These honors reflect the lasting impact of his contributions to rock music. Despite the challenges that led to his departure, Perry doesn't express regret about his time with Journey. Instead, he sees it as part of his life's journey, with all its highs and lows shaping who he is today. Perry's story, from his rise to fame, his decision to walk away, and his eventual return to music, has become an integral part of rock history. It's a testament to the complexities of fame and the importance of staying true to oneself, even when it means making difficult choices. Steve Perry's journey from rock stardom to solitude and back again is a testament to the human spirit. His decision to leave Journey wasn't just about music. It was about rediscovering himself. Through struggles, loss, and eventual healing, Perry found his way back to his passion. His story reminds us that sometimes stepping away is necessary for growth. Today, Perry's legacy as The Voice endures, inspiring new generations of musicians and fans alike.